Profit First is a system that is for cash flow management, and it's actually sales minus profit equals expenses. Total backwards of the accounting that most business owners know. And so when I learned about Profit First and started implementing it, I started actually having money in my restaurant. And so when that happened, it changed my life 100%. And so I decided at that point in time, you know what, I need to make a business and help other people to change their lives with cash flow management in their small businesses.
Welcome to the LandLife podcast with your host, PJ Riley.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the LandLife podcast. My name is PJ Riley. Guys, like I always say, if you're getting value from this podcast, make sure you like, subscribe, leave 5 stars. Do me a favor and leave a quick review. If you're like, you know what, I really like the guest today, and I just wanted to say that. Just leave that. Or, you know what, PJ, I don't like your shirts. They're V-neck shirts, not cool. Say that too. I don't care. Whatever you say, just leave a review. Guys, at the end of the podcast, our guest today, Angela, is going to give you ways that you can contact her. So if what she says resonates with you, and if her story is something you want to kind of follow up on, or you want to eat at her restaurant, she'll give you ways of contacting her. So stick around to the very end so you can do that. Guys, today our guest, Angela Goodman, Valkyrie. Just told me like 2 seconds ago.
Just pick one, PJ. It's okay.
Valkyrie Ventures Group. It's a financial services company. They help with like Profit First, accounting, all these good things. She also owns Famous Toastery restaurant, which I think is 2 completely different things, but they're both really awesome. Angela, how's it going?
It's good. It's great. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And what part of the country are you from?
I am from just outside of Washington, D.C. in Virginia.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So Angela, give us a quick background kind of on who you are and what got you to the point we're at right now.
All right. So 15 years in commercial HVAC industry. I spent a lot of time telling old cranky mechanics how to work on chillers, and they didn't appreciate that too much because I'm much younger and I don't look like them. After spending 15 years doing that and running a P&L for that company, I decided to venture out on my own and go get into the restaurant business. So I bought into a franchise called Famous Toastery, which I had eaten at the time when I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for a number of years. And best food. I missed it when I moved up to the DC area and decided to bring their first store to Virginia.
Nice.
So that's how I ended up doing that. Yeah.
That's really cool. So wait, but HVAC to a restaurant, I get you like the restaurant. I mean, I like a lot of things. I mean, I like the Denver Broncos, but I'm not going to buy them. How were you able to buy a restaurant?
You know, it's funny. I have a lot of people who ask me that question. Very different business models, but not so much. All customer service, right? Either way. So I was in the commercial service business. So I handled hospitals. I handled clients that were very large clients. But bottom line is it was all relationships. So the restaurant business, same thing. It's not all food, right? It's relationships too. So in the breakfast, lunch, and brunch business, I've got people who eat in my restaurant 7 days a week. And so for me, it was like, well, I wanted to get in business. I wanted to buy and invest in something that was going to grow. And so I kind of landed on that concept.
Wow.
And decided, you know what, I'm going to bet on myself. I know how to run a business. I know how to run a P&L. I know how to manage people. So let's make it happen. My first job was at the Waffle House. So breakfast has always been a part of my DNA.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. And I looked up your website, the website for Famous Toastery. That food looks insanely good.
Yeah.
That's because you can eat healthy there too. That's what I thought was pretty cool too. There was a picture of like an avocado with some eggs in it, and like it's actually healthy food. It's not just like McGriddles.
No. And everything is made from scratch. So even if you come there, you see something on the menu and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want that in the dish, we can take it out. So that's the other beauty of the food. Yeah.
You guys do mimosas?
We do.
Mimosas, my wife's listening.
Bloody Marys. Yeah.
Dude, when we come out to see my brother in DC, we might have to stop by, do a little brunch.
Tell your brother to come out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do.
Come out. Yeah.
I will definitely do that. Yeah, I know him and his fiance. They definitely like that kind of breakfast. So
Yeah.
I'll send him out. Okay, so we got a restaurant.
Yeah.
Now you're like, that's not enough. I'm going to shift to something else. So you
Yeah.
jumped into Valkyrie Ventures Group. So explain that and what that is, and how why you did that too.
I know. So, COVID changed a lot for a lot of people, right? In the restaurant business, COVID was super tough. Going into the shutdown, I had to figure out how to maintain my full-time staff, keep them employed, give them jobs, and still bring cash in. And around that time, I actually found a program called 75 Hard. I'm sure you've had other people on your podcast who have mentioned what 75 Hard is. And I started reading Profit First, that book right there on my shelf.
Yeah.
And Profit First is a system that is for cash flow management, and it's actually sales minus profit equals expenses. Total backwards of the accounting that most business owners know. And I found all of that around the same time as I was shifting the business model to just be carry out. And I started using Profit First in my business at the restaurants. I had no cash reserves going into COVID, which obviously was not a good thing. And so when I learned about Profit First and started implementing it, I started actually having money in my restaurant. And so when that happened, it changed my life 100%. And so I decided at that point in time, you know what, I need to make a business and help other people to change their lives with cash flow management in their small businesses. So that's how Valkyrie was founded. And so we do bookkeeping services because a lot of small business owners have a hard time having clean books, or they've been trying to maintain books on their own. And so there are different things they don't know, right? And then from that, we also do Profit First implementation to help them learn Profit First, implement it into their business. And then we coach on different things that they can do with their business to help them when it comes to tax time. Then we also help coach on different things that they could be thinking about to help maximize and optimize the money that's actually coming into their business.
That's cool. How are you finding clients for that when you first started?
It's all been by word of mouth. Ironically. So I've got only about a dozen clients. I don't really market. I have a website, but I don't really put it out there. I don't market it. I like to be a partner with someone with their business. So that's, back to the customer service and customer relations piece, same around my whole life. I want to be arm in arm with you, helping you through your scaling, your growing, figuring out your financials, if that's the stage you're in. So I actually never really have marketed that business. It's all been by word of mouth. I started with a couple of friends and it's grown from there. So
wow. So I just recently, and we talked about this earlier, I just recently started Profit First accounting with my business. So it changed everything. I tried it once before a long time ago, and I kind of just it was not a very perfect way of doing it. It didn't really look very good, but it kind of worked to some degree. But recently I found a new bookkeeper and they did Profit First too. And so we decided to run with that. There were so many holes in my business, so many holes that we've been at it for 4 or 5 months now, and they're still emailing me. Yeah, what about this? What about this? I don't have an 8-figure business, so I can only imagine how some people, the issues you come across with some people. What is the issue? What's the main issue you find in all these businesses that are out there?
I think the biggest thing that I find is that the business owners don't know if they've hired an outside bookkeeping entity, they don't know what's actually being classified in their books. So they can't make good business decisions on where they can cut expenses and how they can manage their cash flow, because they don't even understand what categories their bookkeeper is allocating their expenses to. Yeah. So that happens more often than not. A P&L isn't just for preparing your taxes. A P&L allows you to analyze real time your actual business and your expenses and your cash flow. And that's what most business owners that I find in the beginning, that's where they are. They have to learn how to categorize their P&L so that they can read it and make good business decisions about it, whether they want to hire new people, whether they want to have a large expenditure, whether or not they want to take out debt, whether or not they're actually managing with an industry standard for different costs and things in their businesses. So that's really the biggest issue I find, is that most business owners are not intimate with their financials because they're running their day-to-day business.
Yeah, I thought I had a business too. I thought I knew what I was doing. I had a bookkeeper. It was my daughter. Hi, Caitlin. She did a good job. A good job. Wasn't a great job, but she did a good job. But I had no idea what I had. And I remember very recently, I had a conversation with the profit first arm of the bookkeeping firm that I'm working with, right? Mm-hmm. And she says, wow, you had a great year. You guys made a lot of money. And I was like, no, we didn't. We didn't make very much money at all. And she goes, oh, no, you did. And I was like, nope, I don't think we did. Based on my numbers, we didn't make very much at all. And so she had to walk me through and show me. She goes, no, look, we did this and then we did this and here's this and here's that. I'm like, that's not possible. Like, I didn't realize we made that. I mean, it was a decent amount. And I was like, you don't know what you don't know. You could be the best salesperson. I don't know. Let's say you're selling, hats. You're the best salesperson at selling hats, right? You can sell all the hats in the world. You make a ton of money, you think, and you're selling all these hats, but you don't know what the numbers really look like, because every single day you're out there trying to throw lids on guys' heads, right? So you don't know what you're doing. So it's really, it's game changing having a good bookkeeper. It's night and day. Like you actually have a business. Another thing about having a bookkeeper that I've fairly recently figured out, you have something to sell now, right? You have an actual business with a P&L that you can actually package and sell to somebody. Previously, let's go back to the hat example. You're just a hat salesman, right? You don't have a hat business. You just it's just you selling hats. Now with this bookkeeper in, they can package everything up for you, and now you can actually sell it. So I thought that was like super cool. Have you had that conversation or experience with people yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have clients that come to me, and one of the first questions I ask them is, when's the last time you had a price increase on whatever product or service or anything that they're selling? Most of them come to me and say, well, it's probably been 5 or 6 years. Economy is a little different today than it was 5 or 6 years ago. I guarantee you, we need to evaluate where you're at. We need to look at your books, and we need to do a price increase. And it's funny because the amount of guilt that some people feel in increasing their prices is massive. However, your job as the fiduciary of the business when you own it is to make sure that the entity itself is profitable and makes money. And, I often also ask people all the time, does your dollars in the bank match the profit line that your P&L shows from last year? Because more times than not, that's not the case. Most people show a profit on paper, but they don't have the cash in the bank to back it up. So then it becomes an even deeper conversation of, okay, let's learn about your cash flow. How does money move into your business? Then how long does it move out of your business? How quickly do you collect receivables? How quickly do you pay your bills? All of those types of things, really, to your point, that gives you an actual product of the business that you can go out, and then you can say, when you're selling your hat, I'm going to make $2.12 for every hat I sell. That's how much I'm just going to go in my bank account today.
Yeah. It's huge. You just don't know what you don't know. Right. And it's at first it's somewhat frustrating when you talk to someone like you, Angela. It's like, there's no way this is possible. I know what I'm doing, right? But then accept it. If you're listening to this and you're talking to Angela for the first time, just accept it, because you're gonna be super happy when you're able to really look at a P&L and read it and say, wow, here's what we made today. Here's what we made last week, last month. It's a real business versus I just go out and sell a bunch of cool stuff and make a bunch of money. Okay. Yeah. Question. You have 2 completely different companies running at the same time. Let's just stick with the financial side of things, financial business. Okay. How many team members do you need to run this thing to keep it going? I mean, how many people do you need to be having helping you out all the time, just so that you can keep the business alive.
It's interesting. As of right now, because I have kept my client pool small, it's me.
Oh, okay.
It's me. I work hand in hand, arm in arm with every client. I actually, depending on how complicated their bookkeeping is, actually still do some of my clients that is complicated. I still do it. I do have someone that will do a little bit of bookkeeping work for me, but it's usually the less complicated clients that they do that for. If as I continue to grow that business, there'll be 10 to 12 clients per person. So, but my intention is to, work with some of the other coaches that are in the business in order to expand. But right now I'm at about 12. I'm happy where I'm at. I like being very tight, because my goal is not just to let me have you as a client for life. My goal is let me have you as a friend for life, and then let me teach you what you need to know so that you can run your own business without needing me. Yeah. That's another thing that I kind of enjoy about what I do, is that I get in there deeply, partner with people, and teach them how to do it on their own so that they're confident in running their own business and are able to do it without me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge, because then you're also not just building a client or a business or a client, you're building a kind of a business partner, right? So when they move on from their next thing, they're always going to remember you.
Yeah.
Versus, you're not the name of a business, you're Angela, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to always remember you as Angela, and they're going to contact you when the next thing happens in their life. When they expanded and got in a bigger business, or they went off into some other industry. So that's super important that's a little nugget right there if you're listening. So, okay, who's running the restaurant? How are you going over there making eggs?
So
how do you make eggs with you're working with this financial side all the time?
I know. So I actually, one of the reasons when I got into the restaurant business for opening a restaurant was the industry itself is so unstable for the employment pool. And so my goal was to create a job for 30 other people and not create a job for myself. So after managing the store myself for about 2 years, just to learn all of the ins and outs, I trained a manager and got her up to speed. And then we got someone behind her, and then someone in the kitchen, and then have someone else who helps run operations every day. So I kind of grew and developed the leadership team, and they've all been with me. One of them since we opened, the other 3 of the rest since 4 or 5 years have been with me, and then one more. So with them, similar to my financial clients, my goal with them is to help them grow in their life and as human beings, and not just in the work that they do every day.
Wow.
So I spend a lot of time investing in them as people, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing with myself. And so they run everything. I mean, I have to get engaged every now and then. I watch from 25,000 feet to see what's going on with staffing, what's going on with food costs, what's going on with the financials, what's going on with the customer base, what reviews are people leaving. And then I coach and develop and work with them as leaders so that they can address kind of what's going on and get that vision on their own of things if they start to fall off a little bit, what to do to fix it. So I'm very not inside the business every day, but I'm helping them work on the business every day.
Yeah. And with good financials.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can do
That's
that.
right. That's right.
Not only do you have those two, you're also moving into real estate.
I am.
Right.
I am.
Did you want to talk about that a little bit? Like, so you have, you're working all day on the financial side. You got a restaurant you're running. You're helping build the employees and help them out. And then you also decided to buy apartment complexes.
Yeah. So I made a great friendship with an Arte, which you have the hat on. I've got the shirt on today. Arte is a great organization for entrepreneurship. And I made a partner in Arte who was investing in multifamily as a general contractor. And he came to me and said, look, I've got these opportunities. He knew I had purchased a few rental units where I live for my employees. So I had kind of dipped my toes in the water locally, to help them out. I had a couple of employees that were struggling to find places to live. So I ended up getting into that business because of that. And then, he said, well, I've got a similar situation in North Charleston. Do you have any desire to come down here and invest? And I said, I've always wanted to learn about multifamily. Let's do it. And that was last July. And then in September, we closed our first 16 units. And we're in the process of trying to buy the rest of the street down there. So it's
and where's that
lower
at?
income housing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Where's that at? What part of the country?
It's in North Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah.
Okay. And you said lower income housing. So what is it Section 8 type government subsidized?
It is. It is. And so a lot of the tenancy that we have in those units are actually people that are working in restaurants and in food service in North Charleston. So, I know what my employees here in Ashburn struggle with from a living perspective and being able to afford to have nice housing and being able to have stability. So that was one of the things when he brought that to me, I was like, great, these are the people that I want to help. And so we got into the projects in September and we're purchasing another 14 units this month. And then we're putting programs in place for the people that live on that street and also renovating their buildings. So
what kind of programs are you guys doing?
Just in a program, bringing resources together for them to help them find work, to help them source, different government programs if they need them. So just providing them some resources in order to help them, better the financial side of their lives. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
You're combining all these great things into one. You're also, you organize events all the time. So in Arete, and I talk about Arete way too much in this podcast. About half the guests are in Arete. So, but you organize a ton of events. So you're constantly doing things like that as well. Organizing events for us. We had one in Nashville. You guys have one out there in Virginia coming up.
Yep.
Tons of stuff. So, you're always out there helping other people. And in the Arete things, there's really no return for you. It's I'm here to help you guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's my give back. I, like we've talked about, with my employees, also with, the clients that I have on the financial side of my life. My give back is to help other people. That's my purpose on the planet. And so as many people as I can possibly help, that's what I want to do. When I hosted the event in Nashville, the reason I did that was because I'd been to the summit in St. Louis in May prior. And there was a gentleman who was at the summit that hosted a dinner the night before. And there were only 20 of us that showed up. But I was so nervous to go to the summit. I felt like a total fish out of water. I had just gotten enough money together to buy my ticket to go. And going to that dinner that night and connecting with the people that I met there essentially set me at ease for being there. And I really felt like I'd found like my community.
Yeah.
And so before Nashville, because I knew there were going to be so many people there, I knew that it would be hard because with 2,500 people, how do you network with just 100 or a couple hundred people? It's a lot easier to do that than it is 2,500. So I was like, well, if we do something the night before, 100, 150 people, we'll be good. And then we ended up having 400 people.
Yeah. And everybody wanted tickets to that thing, but didn't get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so for the live that's coming up in April, there is an event. I've already inked a contract with an event for the night before. And so I'm going to release that as soon as they start selling tickets for the live. I promise
you, I will not miss out on this one. The last one I missed out on, and I'm like, wait a minute. I totally missed out on it. And we did not get to go to the third floor of that awesome restaurant bar.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, it's all on me. And everybody that missed it was definitely kicking themselves too, because I talked to a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again in St. Louis, and it's a similarly sized, if not a little bit larger venue. So if we need more space, that can make more space happen. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're setting like a really good example for not only other people in the business world, but for your two daughters, right? Your mom.
I am.
Your mom on top of all these things. So, you've already told me your two daughters are like future leaders. They're soccer players doing really good in life. How much does being a mom fuel you in business? And how difficult is it being a mom in business?
Yeah. So I'll say this. One of the things when I had children that I knew I wanted to do was create independent, strong, and resourceful women. That was my goal because I have both girls. And so the best way to do that, I feel like, is to lead by example. And so my kids watch me. My oldest works in the restaurant. She also has a second job, which was her choosing. And so she watches me contribute to the people around me, to help them, to do different things for people. And so that is one of the things that was important to me. Let me lead by example, my children. Being a mom in business actually has been better because I'm present at home. My office is in my house. I'm here when my kids get home from school. I can be a little bit more engaged and active in what they have going on, and be more present. When I was working in the corporate world, I was gone a lot. I was away a lot. And so that was very difficult to have that good relationship with my girls. So now I'm much more immersed in what they have going on, and I'm with them every day. So that's been awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to win Mother of the Year. It was never one of those things that I had on my shelf when I wanted to be Mother of the Year. But bottom line is I wanted them to have an example. They know they can do whatever they want. They watch me with my dreams and working on my dreams for our family and all of those things. And so setting an example that they know they can do whatever they want to do is most important to me as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it fuels you then, right? It's part of one of the things that fuels you. Right?
Yep.
Like, so now you say you're able to be there. You got a lot going on, right? And I think I've said that quite a bit, but you do have a lot going on.
Yeah.
How are you? Let's look at actual application of it.
Okay.
How are you actually able to be there? Are you time blocking? Are you using certain strategies where, hey, at this time we stop working, and it's family time? Or how do you do it as a mom? And I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
It's different being a mom that in business and doing these things than a dad. Dads, we all want to put our time in, but moms have it a little bit. They have a little bit more of a societal. I don't know how to put it, but a societal thing where they're supposed to be there all the time taking care of the kids, right? Even today in this, fancy futuristic world we live in, it's still looked at as you're not spending enough time with your kids. Why are you always at work? So how are you able to kind of strategically do this?
Oh, listen, I'll tell you, I'm sure I'm the mom everybody judges 100%. Oh, the one that are like, okay, well, you're not at your kid's practice every day. And I will say that I'm guilty of being more probably like the dad than I am like of the typical stereotypical mom. But everything that I've done for the girls has more been by design. I don't want them to be locked into what society feels like they should be doing. I want them to know that you can do what you want to do. So do I time block? I'm also very much into human design, and I am all over the place, and that's how I'm designed to be. So my day, I might get up in the morning and I might say, okay, I've got this client's work I need to get done. And then I might be closing on a property, or I might have the restaurant call me and they're out of some kind of product that we need for service, and I've got to help them source. I'm really good at moving and bouncing back and forth. A lot of people need routine and structure, and they have to know exactly what's happening every minute of their day, and that's how they're comfortable. I'm more comfortable if I'm free flowing into my day. So I get up in the mornings, usually between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. I drink my coffee, I read, and have my quiet time for myself. And then once my day starts, I generally know what I'm going to get done during the course of that day, but it's like this.
Yeah.
I
gotcha. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to ask you about that because I think, as moms, you guys get it pretty rough. Even in the business world where you're running the business, or the working world where you're the employer, you're in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Because you go to let's say you go to the soccer parent meeting, right? And all the moms are there, and they say, hey, we're going to do this on Thursday. We're going to do team, I don't know, make team t-shirts together on Thursday. You're like, I'm working.
Yeah.
They're like, You're working. How could you work?
Yes.
We're doing soccer team t-shirts, right? But a mom gets that. A dad, I'm working. Okay, no problem. And that's just how it is. I'm not going to debate
Yeah,
it.
no,
That's
you're
just
right.
how it
You're
is.
right. Yep, you're right.
So it's very interesting how you've figured out how to work around all that kind of stuff too.
I just don't bother with the judgment, I think is probably the difference. Like, I think I really do feel like there's a lot of moms who feel guilty because they know other people are looking at them like, how could you not be there for your kids 100% of the time? I don't live by that same guilt because I know what my goals are with my girls and where I want them to be at the time that they are in life, in society on their own. So as long as I'm living up to those boundaries and those goals that I've set for myself, then I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's cool because they're seeing that. They're learning from you. They're definitely adopting those that mindset too. One thing I think is pretty interesting about you that I haven't told you yet is people say multiple streams of income is the thing to do in business, right? You see it all the time. You got a kid in a Lamborghini on TikTok and he's like, I have 10 streams of income, right? Right. So you have those, but what I think you're the example, the correct way of doing it. You build one, build it really good, make it good, and then move on to the next one, right? You built the restaurant, it's good. Now let's go to financial services. Okay, we're strong there. Now let's move into real estate. We're strong there. Now let's move into something else. I guess I don't even know if I have a question. I just have that's just a statement to make. A lot of people they say multiple streams of income, but they don't necessarily, they want it all at once. So they're like, I'll start a restaurant and do financial services at the same time. And while I'm there, I'm Google searching how to buy apartment complexes, right? Do you see that out in the financial world as well?
It's funny. Yeah, I do see people trying to start too many things at one time. What I will say for myself is the reason why I am where I am is because things have happened in that sequential order. So when I opened that first restaurant, I was just going to be a restaurant owner. And then life happened. And instead of saying, oh, well, lifetime out, I said, okay, well, let me figure out how I can turn this into something else. A lot of people will have that type of conflict or barrier and they'll be like, oh, I'm done. But that's not me. I say, okay, now, if that's the case, I'm supposed to learn something from this. Let me learn something from it and then create more with it. And so for me, it's been a sequential thing as opposed to me going in saying, oh, I want to be a restaurant owner and also have these other streams of income. It just sort of happened in the manner that it did. And I don't say no, that's my problem. So, I meet somebody and they come to me and they're like, hey, don't you want to invest in North Charleston? I was like 9 hours away from me. I know a little bit about the market from when I lived in the Carolinas, but I don't know a lot about it. And I'm like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah. But that's the smart way to do things. It's not easy and it's not sexy, right?
Right.
But it is the correct way to do things if you really want to get to a high level. Ed Milet runs Arate, right? He didn't start by buying all these different companies all at the same time, right? He started financial services, moved on to the next thing, added different things, as time, finances, and energy allowed, really. And when his energy and his time, and same with you, energy, time, finances didn't allow, just bring on team members. Right? Let's bring on somebody else who's better at it than we are. And they can help us do buy the real estate business and buy the apartment complexes and all that kind of thing. Right? Well, cool. This has been good, Angela. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. I'm glad we finally got to officially talk together.
Exactly. We have been in the same buildings together. We've been in the same chat. We've been chatting together. We chatted about real estate a long time ago.
We did. We sure did.
About land and
I had this great idea to do, and I have this, and I'm going to do something with it, but it's just not been the right time yet. So I have a company called Off the Grid Trips, and my plan is to purchase land in places that are off the grid and create little getaways for people to be able to go to be off the grid. It's up here. It's been up here for maybe a year and a half. Someday it'll come to fruition. It's like Evolve. It's like the event we're doing next week in Virginia. That was up here for probably a good year before I'm like, all right, now's the time I got to go do it. So So you and I will probably be talking about land and be talking about that concept at some point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea. That's definitely a really good idea. And I think a lot of people are looking for something like that too.
Yeah.
Looking for something different to go out and do.
Yeah. I want to unplug. I mean, most people nowadays, I really feel society is kind of reverting away. Yes, they're using social media. Yes, you're doing more of that, but you're also understanding that the more you do of that, the more depleted you become.
Yeah.
So I think the need for people to get out and get away and be able to excuse themselves by saying, I'm going off the grid. It gives them excuse, like, you can't get a hold of me. I'm going to be out. I'm going to be out of contact for 3 days. Right. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm off the grid.
I'm off the grid. Sorry, I can't respond to you.
That's awesome. Angela, how can people get hold of you if they want to contact you?
They can find me on Instagram at Angela Goodman. And that's my handle there. And then also you can find Valkyrie on Instagram as well, which is VVG Consulting on Instagram. Those are the two main outlets for me. Valkyrie is also on Facebook, and you can find it there as well. And then I've got a website for that, ValkyrieVenturesGroup.com.
Nice. Lots of ways to get hold of her. And if you join Arte, or if you're in Arte, contact Angela, and she will hook you up with the event in April, and she will help you get tickets to this thing.
Yeah, that's right.
You can actually meet with everybody, and
that's right.
Yeah, you don't miss the boat like I did last time.
No. And then I am on it as soon as they announce stuff. I am on it, making that happen. So we've got a contract in place already. I'm just waiting to hit the go button.
That's awesome. All right, Angela, are you ready for the big question?
I am ready.
This is it. This is the big one. We don't mess around here. This is like I told another Arte person, Josh, this is like a Mensa level question. Okay. So you gotta be ready for this. All right, Angela, if you could buy land anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
All right, I'm going to Alaska.
Ooh.
I want to be off the grid, and I want to be somewhere where I have a view of the mountains and a view of the ocean. That is my plan. Perfect. And that's where I want to be. Mm-hmm.
Crazy enough, Angela, we're buying in Alaska in that with that exact criteria right now.
Are you? Okay, good. Well, that's good to know. Then we have further conversations to have beyond today.
Yeah, there's a lot of really nice places out there in Alaska. Just you either need a plane, or we need to bring in a road. That's the only downside with Alaska. Is not a lot of access. But cool.
Yep.
Angela, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Finally get to talk. I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me today.
All right, guys. Till next time, I'll see you on LandLife.